honor, reflect, and celebrate the land and resources we are using to sustain ourselves at Nevada State College. We are upon sacred ancestral land of the Southern Paiute, Hualapai, and Chemehuevi people who continue to live and thrive all around Southern Nevada. We appreciate how your culture and traditions continue to enrich our community. We also wish to acknowledge that our state of Nevada is home to over 27 tribes that span from the 4 tribal groups of the Southern Paiute, Shoshone, Northern Paiute, and Washoe. All right, so it is my pleasure to welcome you to Nevada State College's Office of Diversity, Office of Community Engagement and Diversity Initiatives, or CDI's first Facebook Live event. Yay! For those of you watching at home, so exciting. I am your host, Dr. Kimberly Florence, brand new to Nevada State College, so if I haven't ran into you yet, hello from my home. I also work as the Community Resources Coordinator for Nevada State College, so I'm so happy to be here and I'm so excited to host this event. The purpose of today's function is to watch and discuss a short film called Great Basin Water Protectors. The film depicts how a group of young Native Americans from various tribes came together to preserve one of our most cherished resources, water, and the land that it nourishes. They opposed a 300-mile pipeline from Great Basin National Park to Lake Mead. So before I introduce the filmmakers, I want to acknowledge Most Media and the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada, or PLAN. So thank you. All right, so getting to the filmmakers, Justin and Amy McAfee. Justin and Amy's early adoption of social media and other forms of digital technology allowed them to craft messages and build an online following to become significant influencers in Nevada and worldwide. Soon they mastered different types of media, media as well as video productions, photography, website and graphic design, content and branding. Justin and Amy aim to tell stories of the people who are negatively affected in our world through digital media and activist filmmaking. Justin and Amy, what inspired you to make this film?
So thanks for having us. I think the news for the world is pretty bad. 90% of the large fish in the ocean are gone. 98% of the native forests and grasslands have been destroyed. And 200 species are going extinct every day. And, one of the good things is that indigenous peoples' lands and waters actually represent 80% of the world's biodiversity. So I think, and they're wonderful stewards of that land, much more than Western civilization and our consumerism, which is, it's going around the world and destroying those lands. And it's an ongoing genocide of indigenous people worldwide. So those are things that we're against. I think we should question a society that does those things, and we should be in solidarity with indigenous people. And so, locally for us, we were honored and privileged to be able to be with these wonderful people as they prayed over this land, and we were able to film it and help them tell their story. So that's all I have to say about why we were there. I think Amy wants to add to that, but I appreciate being here again.
Yes, we just wanted to thank everyone for being here today and for all the work that went into taking this online in a very short amount of time. We really appreciate this opportunity. We want to thank everyone who is participating and the ability to share this story with a broader audience. And we hope that everyone's inspired by it, just like we were. It was such an amazing experience to be part of this sacred run and to be able to document it. Actually, this film is our first, and it actually inspired us to want to become activist filmmakers who tell the stories of people who are often unheard. So thank you so much, and I know the next part will be to introduce the participants. So.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, so for the rest of the panel, can you please introduce yourself briefly and explain why it was essential for you to bring awareness to the 300-mile pipeline from Great Basin National Park to Lake Mead? Patrick, we want to go first?
Yeah, thanks. I'm Patrick Donnelly. I'm Nevada State Director with the Center for Biological Diversity. We've been engaged in a legal and political struggle against the Las Vegas pipeline for over a decade. I'm also on the board of the Great Basin Water Network, which has worked with indigenous communities across eastern Nevada to fight the pipeline in the courts. And this pipeline would really decimate the ecosystems of eastern Nevada, the marshes and the springs and the other water features that sustain life and sustain the cultural landscapes that make eastern Nevada such a special place. And so that's why my organization's been involved. That's why the Great Basin Water Network was formed. Thus far, we've had numerous successful challenges in court because the courts have agreed that this pipeline is destructive to the environment and to the people who have called this place home for many thousands of years.
So thank you, Patrick. Fawn?
Hi, sorry, I had to unmute. Hello, Hagadawayak, everyone. My name is Fawn Douglas. I'm a member of the Las Vegas Paiute tribe, but I'm not the voice of the tribe. Our elected officials are. I'm just speaking for myself, for the lands, and for the water. And I got involved with, everything way back in 2016. And that started with the fight for Standing Rock and the protection of water, and then into Nevada for the protection of Gold Butte and to get Gold Butte designated as a national monument. Since then, I've been, putting my voice and my efforts towards other issues that are going on. And with the water issue here in Nevada, I saw it as a no-brainer to lend my voice to it, because it is Native communities and it is rural communities through the state of Nevada that are going to be affected by this water grab. And I thank everybody for being here and to be able to listen and to watch this movie. It's a really important film, and I thank Justin and Amy and Patrick for being good allies in this fight for preservation and protection, because we're all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you, Fawn. Mary Lou and Johnny Bob?
Hello, thank you. Nice to be here. My name is Mary Lou Anderson, and I actually own Spirit and Serve based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And I have become, probably over the past 10 years or so, pretty passionate advocate for marginalized populations, which, unfortunately includes our earth. And I've done a lot of work with the Western Shoshone over the past 5 to 7 years. And an absolute supporter for the walkers and the runners and the prayers. I provide a good amount of energy work and spiritual service and a bit of advisement in Nevada, in Greater Nevada. I believe I'm good friends and supporters of the Southern Paiute family as well. And I just, I can't emphasize enough the importance of all of us, regardless of what our color or culture is, the importance of all of us getting the word out to everyone, as Justin said, about the impact of man on the earth these days. And so whenever friends and family get out there and walk the talk and pray the talk, I'd like to think I do whatever I can to support, whether I'm walking or running or driving or cooking or cleaning or supporting online or praying or holding circles with non-natives throughout Southern Nevada to bring awareness to all of these earth issues, and especially the water, because water is life. So I'm just happy to be here and to be sitting on Western Shoshone land today, bringing good energy, good love, lots of good information. Your turn. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Johnny Bob. My concern about this water is life. And water brings life to all the living creatures, all the life to the trees, the valleys, everything that's on it will, with water, it'll bloom. It gives us water to pray with. It gives our four-legged animals to play in and drink water, and they pray also. And I think that water should stay where it's at. That water should be not removed down towards Vegas or anywhere else. Or any place they want to get water, that water should stay in this place. Actually.
All right, thank you, Mary Lou and Johnny Bob. Jolie?
Manahu, Inaniene, Jolie Varela, Numunu, Payahunadu Yesh, Tuli River, Nukimaru. Hello, my name is Jolie Varela. I come from the place of flowing water. I am a citizen of the Tule River Yoka and Paiute tribes, and I echo Fawn's sentiments. I do not represent the tribes, but I'm just coming to you as a citizen of these tribes. And I have an organization called Indigenous Women Hike, and in 2016, I spent 3 months at Standing Rock. And during my time there, standing for water and standing with my relatives from all over, I realized that we have this fight going on in my own homelands in Payahunadu, also known as the Owens Valley. And Los Angeles Department of Water and Power has been stealing our water for over 100 years. And I've witnessed what it's done to these lands and how it still impacts myself and my community, not just the Indigenous community, but our non-Indigenous people who live in Payahunadu as well. And so, knowing what has happened to our lands, I knew that I needed to come stand with my relatives and do the Great Basin Water Protectors Run to be in solidarity, because I've witnessed and lived through the impacts of what, this taking water and taking without consent. I see what it's done to communities, and I just want to help amplify that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yes, wonderful, Jolie. Thank you. Autumn?
Hi, sorry about that. Hamu no Autumn Harry Minani no Kuyui Pop Nanadoe no Kuyui Takata Dine no. Hello everyone, my name is Autumn Harry and I'm a member of the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe in Northern Nevada. I'm a fisherwoman. I'm a graduate student here at University of Nevada, Reno, where I'm studying geography. And yeah, we've had our fair share of water issues up in the north. And being from Pyramid Lake, our people have experienced diversions along the Truckee River, in the early 1900s. And because of those diversions, our lake dropped by over 80 feet, and we lost one of our primary fish species, which is a long cutthroat trout, and so that fish population was completely decimated. So I was very fortunate to grow up into a family who really cares about water and who cares about the environment and the animals, and so my parents are really the ones who are my main teachers. So I was able to participate in the run in 2018 and very honored to do so, but we have to continue finding ways of being able to talk about these issues and to bring awareness to the communities that are affected by development and by these pipelines.
Wonderful. Thank you, Autumn. And lastly, Beverly?
Hello.
There you go. Hi, Beverly.
Hi. So my name is Beverly Harry. I work as the Native Community Organizer for the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. I really appreciate the opportunity to spend some time with you this afternoon. I really think this film was seeded in my mind because of Standing Rock, and it started out here in the kitchen, and I was trying to help Autumn and other Native community members raise money to go over to Standing Rock. So here at home, it's like one fry bread at a time. How can we sell that fried bread and make some type of profit and move it into funding people to stand up for, for water. And that's how it all began. We were here. I never went to Standing Rock, but there were so many people that were selling T-shirts. They were protesting. There was a lot of time spent, trying to get people involved in the Standing Rock issue. So it began with a balado, but it was meant for this movement that was taking off in Standing Rock. So we took from Standing Rock. Standing Rock brought this enormous amount of spiritual, emotional, and mental awareness to everybody. Like, we really, really need to start helping our earth. There have been so many demands placed on, our earth with water contamination and everything that we're seeing, in water monitoring projects that we're doing. And we ultimately had to continue looking at how we could save life. That was fish, that was ourselves, our children. And so there was like a spiritual awakening for all of us. And we built this project with the Great Basin Water Protectors as part of that movement to get the youth involved, to send a message to everybody that they need to wake up. We all need to do our part to save our earth, because this greed that was embedded in a lot of these projects, whether it was mining, whether it was pipelines, these corporations just have so much power. And it was the youth, and it was elders that were speaking out. And so we brought that idea of Plan getting involved and helping us bring the attention to water. And so that's how the foundation of the film was made. We had worked with Amy and Justin, and we continued to work with them until we thought, this is the film that really needed to go forth.
Wonderful. Thank you, Beverly. Well said. And you know what? It's a great lead up into the film itself, right? So without further delay, enjoy the film.
We're getting all these different messages, like we're being attacked. It's cold, it's so cold. And they were being hit with water cannons and rubber bullets, and it was just mayhem. But we heard that, the people that were hurt really bad were being sent to the hospitals. One by one, you could see people coming in, limping in. It looked like people off of a war field. It was so real, and it was so, it hurt. And I think it still hurts. People were there because they heard the call for water protectors. They heard the call to stand up for Mother Earth. They heard the call to support the land and to wake up. And people were starting to wake up one by one to what was happening on the planet. I mean, not just Standing Rock, but everywhere. It seems like we're screaming it, but our leadership isn't doing anything about it, which is really unfortunate. So it took some learning and really looking in the mirror. You have to look at yourself. What am I doing with this issue? How am I saving the planet? Or what am I doing? Because it's not just Standing Rock. It was not just this one pipeline. What are we doing here? And for anybody who went to Standing Rock, that fire was lit and they brought that back home.
For 29 years, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has pursued plans to unleash a massive, unprecedented 300-mile-long pipeline and pumping system to suck billions of gallons of groundwater from under rural Nevada. The $1 billion project became a $2 billion project, and today is a $15 billion project. Federal studies show a lower water table could create a huge dead zone in rural Nevada, where plant and animal life would be wiped out.
Dustin Martin of Wings of America reached out to me and was interested in participating in a prayer run.
He posted something on social media.
Dustin made a post. I'm part of the Bears Ears Prayer Alliance. He asked, and so I was like, okay, I'm up for it.
I've done a couple awareness runs already. This is the fourth one that I'm doing.
The group that I came with we came from New Mexico and Arizona. We first talked with Bev. She said that she had a handful of runners, and so it was obvious that we would come in handy.
We came from Payahunadu. I was really nervous because I've never been on a run before. I'm not really a runner. I'm a hiker.
And I was a bit nervous because I didn't know I was coming until a few days before.
Nervous feeling because, what we're doing is going against a big organization that's needing water for people that are not there. We're also blessed to have one of the Shoshone elders of that area come along with us and pray over us, because this is their area. They utilize the mountains and the pine nuts and harvesting the animals. This is their livelihood. If this water was to disappear because of customers for $1, it's like, then what? All these people are without water.
Okay, I want to wish you guys good luck. Have a safe run as you guys run on this path. Sometimes when I'm driving through here, you'll feel a burst of wind. Probably one of our relatives here saying thank you. So if you feel that, say, we're coming in a good way. Thank you each and every one of you guys again for coming up here and helping us out. It's an honor to have you guys here and be here with you. It's a beautiful morning here.
The main thing is just bonding, getting to know the other runners from Nevada, California, and hearing their stories and relating it to my tribe as well.
One of the things that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of tribes a long time ago didn't really get along with each other.
We need more of this to show people that we can come together and fight for what's ours, our rights.
It's unity, and it's what we all need. It's growing. My family's growing every time I take part in a run.
I think of Payahunadu, also known as the Onzali, where I come from, and how this exact same thing happened in our territory. This journey really resonates in my heart because it happened to our people already. Just knowing the devastation that it caused, it's worth the fight to come here and to help the tribes here because they're our brothers, they're our relatives, they're our brothers and our sisters. It's important to be here and to be in solidarity with these tribes here who are fighting for the same thing that our people are still fighting for. This story is too familiar, and this greed to grow a city that is unsustainable, to kill and dry up a beautiful land to sustain a city like that, and the greed is just, I can't even really say what it is.
Tonight, one of this century's most ambitious projects at the largest reservoir in the nation, which looked like this in 2000. Take a look at what it looks like now. It was so low it could become useless to communities that rely on it.
Clark County is asking the federal government to allow commercial and residential development on public land. Some 44,000 acres are at stake.
The Southern Nevada Water Authority has been pursuing this project for 29 years, and there was little reason to think they would stop today.
It's an ongoing situation with the Native Americans and maybe other people. If it ain't about land, it's about water. It feels like it's ongoing, and all that it's for is money.
You ask if what we achieved is going to make a difference in legislation or popular opinion about whether or not the water grab should happen, and truthfully, I don't know if it will. This is not the Kickstarter of legislation per se. We're not going to raise votes, or we're not going to sway popular opinion, but that was never my aim.
But it's also understanding that it's a process, it's patience. It's not, in a sense, it can be so instantaneous. If it is that way, it's most likely not going to last. And I feel like that's what history proves. With this run, right, that's happening now, trusting that process, that what we're wanting to set with our intentions and our actions will make a ripple in our environments, in our landscapes, in our communities that will be heard and will be felt and eventually will be enacted in other people's areas.
But it will make a difference in the confidence of every single one of us that completed this run. It will make a difference in our ability to organize. It will make a difference in our ability to articulate what it is that we think is wrong with the way that the world works today. And that will in turn make a difference in the thinking of those that come into a close proximity with us. And with the help of the media and people that want to listen in a way that doesn't just feed clickbait or catch ears in an airport, maybe it will catch the ear or the eyes of some person that does have the ability to influence legislation.
This is healing for us, and this is a part of the journey as well, to be on the front lines and be physically there and to raise awareness that way. It's this big network of people, and we're only getting stronger and becoming more united. So we keep on doing things like this and keep having people from different nations do this, and we only get stronger.
People are definitely working together, and people have a common goal, whether it's water protection or land protection. Our youth are seeing this. I mean, it was the youth that were running. I mean, there's different ages of people who were running, but it was the youth that were really, I want to do this. I want to help. I want to run. I want to speak. I want to do something. And I really love that fire about this generation. If that fire is with anyone, it's with them, and they're really going to be the ones to make this change. They are very inspiring, and I expect more.
Ina
Awesome, beautiful film. Thank you so much, Justin and Amy, for creating this movie. It's absolutely impactful.
Can we just add a quick note real quick?
Yes, sure can.
First, Jolie's beautiful voice was featured there, as was Kizinta, who was a runner, and Toby, Toby Stump was also singing, so beautiful music included in there. And I also just wanted to say, when we edited it, Beverly Harry, who organized the whole thing, but also was instrumental in as kind of an editor, as a director of editing in the post-production. And so just thank everyone again.
Oh, and also Johnny Bob did the drumming,
That's
and
true.
he was amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing that information. It's always those interesting parts about the films, that you don't get to see, and the little tidbits of information. So thank you so much for sharing that. So to our Facebook viewers, please submit your questions and comments now. I'll be checking the chat and monitoring that and presenting your questions to the panel. But before I start going over to the chat, I actually have a question for the panel. So for the students, the faculty, staff, and community members watching, what is the importance of water and land preservation? And I want you to think about this question in terms of, from the lens of maybe a historical perspective, a cultural perspective, spiritual perspective, and then even environmental. So you can pick one of those, but I'm just curious to know what your thoughts are on that. Autumn, would you like to go first?
Sure. So I'm a geographer. So I do, I look at maps a lot. And when you look at the current state of Nevada, and you look at the 27 reservations that are within Nevada, they're really tiny compared to the total land mass. And the land that we currently have is really small, but all of this is indigenous land. And so this film and this movement is really about nation building, and it's the ultimate form of nation building, because our people are coming together, and we're going outside of our reservations and outside of our tribal jurisdictions to help each other and to be with each other and to heal together. And so we can all relate to this issue because we all rely on water, and our people have relied on Nevada's water for thousands and thousands of years, and we need to continue protecting it for thousands of generations to come. It's really important. And this pipeline and what it represents is really, it represents greed, but it also it's a form of erasure, because they're not viewing us as needing that water, and they're not viewing our communities as being valuable enough to have that water. So this movement is really about us coming together and fighting for that water for our people.
Thank you so much, Autumn. Jolie?
Hello, thank you, Autumn. I echo what Autumn is saying, but it also makes me think of here in Payahunadu, and the name of our valley, the indigenous name, means the place where water flows, and which is now known as the Owens Valley, but Richard Owens never stepped foot in this valley. But I come from the place of flowing water, and when I think of our people here, and I think of how every stream from the Pamiru Toyobi or the Sierra Nevada was used to irrigate these lands and to sustain our people here, and how our identities revolve around the land. This land is who we are. and that water is everything to this land. So, I mean, we all have to protect it, and now, you know, there's non-Indigenous people living here too, and we all need to care. And it's just how we see in every community, you know, in the Great Basin, here in Payahunadu, how this water is extracted and taken without consent, and what it does to our Indigenous communities, but not only the Indigenous people, but what it does to everybody, and how it impacts the land. And, you know, it's important to protect and preserve the water and the land, because for me as an Indigenous woman, this land is who I am.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jolie. Fawn?
Thank you. We're probably going to echo each other in these same sentiments about like the protection of the land and, you know, the importance. But I definitely feel that. And I wasn't always, you know, a protector. I wasn't always very involved. It was only since 2015, 2016. And then even before that as a tribal council person. But I've only started, you know, getting really involved in like why it's important. And I had to see how it affected me. I had to see that, you know, this was happening in my backyard, that, you know, the lands are being torn up and destroyed, that there's so much going on, even in our, you know, our beautiful Paiute ancestral lands of the Red Rock Canyon conservation area, you know, seeing the petroglyphs being destroyed, people putting their names over it, or, you know, scratching things out. So, you know, these are beautiful sites, and these are places, you know, not only for, you know, my people or my family, but this is everybody's place, and we should take care of it the same. And I think right now, you know, just going through this time, like, because we were supposed to meet at the Nevada State College and be in public and, you know, have this discussion together. But think of the time we're going through right now. Mother Earth is breathing. Mother Earth is resetting herself. And, you know, there's so many things going on with the environment, but where is our place in it? And, you know, I did mention that in the film as well. It's like, we have to take this, you know, hard look in the mirror about, you know, like, what is our impact? What am I doing? You know, it's one thing to sign a petition or physically be there or do what we can, but at the same time, we really have to look. I mean, there was a time before Standing Rock where we used to do the native dance practices, and, you know, families would bring in these big 24 packs of, you know, plastic bottled waters, you know, for the kids. Like, it was a nice gesture and such. But then when you think about how it's petroleum based and basically supports the oil companies and the, you know, these things, I didn't know that before. And so it takes, you know, a moment to really think about like how we're impacting, you know, from the smallest thing. And when I learned about that, I was like, wow, I had no idea I was, you know, doing this. And we're doing it every week, just filling up 2 really large, big garbage bagfuls. And then we learned and we switched and we changed, and we didn't even have like a little waste basket of waste afterwards. But we really need to definitely look within and, you know, answer that question for ourselves. Like, how do we feel about water and land protection, you know, from our, you know, historical perspective, our cultural background, and, you know, how we feel. And when it comes to, you know, some people who aren't, you know, from this area, or maybe chiming in, tuning in from other places, I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to be so involved or like living close to the ocean to know, seeing like, you know, this the sea turtle with the straw being pulled out of its nose doesn't hurt your heart. Of course it does. There's so many things and impacts that we're doing, and we really need to check ourselves and what our impact is.
All right. Thank you so much, Fawn. Mary Lou and Johnny Bob.
Go ahead, Johnny, you just did. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I'll go first. I talk about the cultural and the tradition. Cultural and tradition, that's our life on this Mother Earth with our natives, the natives of the trees, the natives of the mountains, the natives of the mountain medicines and deers and 4-legged creatures and things that's crawling on the ground. Culture and tradition is what we always do at our gatherings, like sun dances, bear ceremonies, sage-grouse ceremonies, rain dance, snow dance, everything that the native do here is our culture and our tradition. So see, we shall continuing on our culture and tradition to show the non-natives that we are still here. We haven't gone anywhere. Even if we have to go somewhere else to do that, you know, we're always in the middle of this earth. We're always doing that, praying for our food, for our water. They say that we don't have anything in our treaty, in our writing about the water, but we do. We have connections with our treaty. We have connections with our words, how we Native people do it. Because this is our sacred water. Water is life. Water is life through our traditional way of doing our ceremonies. So when we do our singing, it's the same thing. It gives us life to continuing on singing. If we don't have no life on this Mother Earth, we all dry up, we all die in that word. So we have respect for the culture and our traditional ways of our ceremonies. That's part of our feeling with our Mother Earth, our upper, our God, grandmother, the moon, our air, our fire. The things we do ceremony with, we respect all that. So we keep on living, keeping our ways of our life going without getting sicker and sick of something, or sick at that point where we're dying. You know, we want to keep healthy with that water. We want to keep healthy with that nature. We want to keep healthy with that medicine and our food. So this water that they want to drain down towards Las Vegas or wherever they want to lay that pipeline, you know, like I said, this water stays here. You shouldn't go anywhere else. We depend on this water. The natives depend on this water. This Mother Earth have our respect. The ones that know how to use that prayers, use that sage, use that fire, use that air, use our hands, because that's what our Appa put us on this Mother Earth for, our God. Asha, bye. Bye.
Thank you for including me as well in this question. So as a supporter of all people and all sacred life on this planet, and especially, you know, our indigenous brothers and sisters across the state as well as across the country, this question is so timely, I believe. The importance of the water and land preservation. You know, from a spiritual perspective and a practical perspective, I believe we're all seeing it now. With the absence of man getting in the way of nature, nature is beginning to heal herself. Animals are coming out. Animals are eating the food that they were meant to eat. The birds are flying, and the birds are flying like I haven't seen them in over a year or so. From the work I like to do with all people and in support of the land, and especially in this case, the water, from a practical perspective, it's the ultimate importance to bring awareness to all the people in this state, in this particular issue of the water grab. People get too comfortable. I reside in Las Vegas usually in the past. And people don't think about the water grab. People don't think about the water. People can go to Lake Mead and they can see the white lines, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to people like it should, like it should. So I really feel from a practical perspective, any information we can get out to the populace, especially now because our world has changed. And I do believe Mother Earth is healing. At the same time, I believe we're continuing to break down and break open so we can move forward. So now is an incredible time to bring awareness to all people of what's happening specifically with this intended water grab and how it hurts the people who need it the most, and how it hurts the animals, and how it hurts the winged ones, and how it hurts the land, and how it hurts the livelihood of humankind. And so I feel, you know, there's a spiritual component that's utmost important that we need to remember. And, you know, of course, Johnny and Fawn, Jolie, everybody said so eloquently. At the same time, there is definitely a practical component, and there is definitely a political component that I think it's radically important that we get this message out that it's not okay any longer. It's not okay to steal water. It's not okay to steal land. It's not okay to steal life from the people who thrive off of it, the people in remote areas of the state who suffer daily from that which most people in large cities will never think about: running water, abundance of food, not so clean air. Anyhow, I thank you for including me as part of the panel on this particular question, and keep doing my part to spread the good word. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mary Lou. I'm going to turn it over to Patrick, but I want to actually tag on another question. This comes from Sun Mai. Which elected officials have allied or have joined to support this cause? Patrick?
I can chime in on that, and I'll say very few. Most prominently, it became an election year issue during the last gubernatorial election in 2018, and both eventual Governor Sisolak and nominee Republican candidate Adam Laxalt both said they opposed the pipeline. But I would say that in his 2 years or a year and a half in office, Governor Sisolak has done little, if anything, to back up that campaign promise and oppose this pipeline. I would say we have two elected officials who have been strong advocates for the Eastern Water and Great Basin and the communities out there, and that's Assemblyman Howard Watts and Assemblywoman Sarah Peters. And they have both been really staunch defenders of the water resources, environment, and communities of Eastern Nevada. And Howard, many folks perhaps on this video know right now, was a organizer with PLAN and was also the communications director for the Great Basin Water Network. So he's been very tied to fighting this pipeline for many years, and now advocates for the environment in the Assembly.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. And then I want to turn it over to Beverly, but Beverly, I also want to pose a question to you. Student Nayeli Rico asked, what is one thing you wish Nevadans knew about our local tribes? So not only your perspective on water and land preservation, but what is something that we should know about local tribes in Nevada?
I'm back. What I think is really, really important is to understand that Native communities have a different way of organizing. They have a different way of thinking. They have a different way of communicating with their with their people, and everybody has a relationship that is very, very prominent within the community. Everybody knows everybody, and so when we're being impacted by outside governmental agencies and by the federal government, we continue to feel those impacts the same way. The visibility, the visibility that we have, like even right now, the tribes are not engaged in this COVID-19 pandemic. They're not asked about what they think. And so as far as Native communities have a lot of thoughts, and the organizing that they bring forward is a simple one. I think most individuals would, and probably most organizations would try and develop a big, large plan to confront a specific problem. And Native people have always stated, tread softly on the earth. And yet, we see these different societies that are just gouging into the ground. They're taking water. They're taking all of these resources from the ground, and it's that's insane. I mean, what gives them the right to exploit the earth like that? Just because that they're going to be making money, it doesn't. That should even be allowed. So I think the thing that I want to share with the audience is that Native people are here, that they will always be here, and they have always been the stewards taking care of these lands. And we need help. We need a lot of help to bring more awareness, to bring more people in, and to offer that connection to the land that will help us save our earth.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Beverly. I have a question here from Michael Rogers. This is going to go to you, Autumn. It says, he says, I heard Autumn speak about travel restrictions. Why is there travel restrictions? It sounds like you've become prisoners on your own land, to which is part of the problem of systemic cultural biases against not only the land, but the people on the land. So Autumn, do you want to answer that question?
Sure. So I guess when I was speaking about nation building, I wonder if he's asking about the current travel restrictions because of COVID-19, or if it was in reference to something I said. But I guess when I was speaking earlier, we don't really have restrictions on where we can travel. Like we can travel outside our reservations if we need to, but I think our tribes are so used to being confined to our tribal jurisdictions and our tribal systems. Like up here we have the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe, and you have the Reno Sparks Indian Colony and the Fallon Paiute tribe, and we're all Paiute, we're all Numu, but we're from separate tribes. And so what I was speaking to earlier through nation building is that we're going outside of our tribes, and we're still organizing, and we're still meeting up with our relatives who are all Paiute from up here. And yeah, if, with the current situation that we're in, tribes are having to take drastic measures to protect our communities due to COVID-19. And so, we're exercising our sovereignty. At Pyramid Lake, we had to close our lake to the public because we were still having a lot of tourists and fishermen who were coming out to the lake and potentially endangering our communities. And so, we're doing, tribes are doing everything they can right now to exercise their sovereignty, to exercise their self-determination, and our communities are returning back to the land, and we're doing everything we can right now to connect back to the land and to the water.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Autumn. And I have a question here, and I think great minds think alike, Stephanie Dodaro, because this is the last question I had posed for the panel. How would you recommend people help? What are some action steps that people can take right now to help? I'm going to take this over to Patrick first.
I would say a couple things. Number one is to the clicktivism is what we like to call it. When you get those emails in your box that say click here to tell your elected officials to support X, Y, or Z or to oppose this pipeline, that actually makes a difference. Because then folks like me, if we get 300, 500, 1,000 responses, we walk into that policymaker's office and we say, we have 1,000 signatures here from Nevada voters who care about this issue and want to stop this pipeline or whatever the issue is. So it may seem like, oh, you're just clicking and you're sending off an email into the void and it's not important, but it actually does make a difference as a tool for activism. So when you get those emails, click through.
Awesome. Thank you, Patrick. Fawn?
To get informed, to get more educated about the issues. For those who are just tuning in to watch this film for the first time, look into it and look into what's going on with the water grab in Nevada. You could do a Google search. I don't know if there's a specific website that we're promoting today, and there might be something posted from from Kimberly or Justin and Amy. But we'll have different links to get involved. For I think Progressive Leadership Alliance Nevada, of course, has so much information about how you could lend your name or your voice to the issues. But get educated about what's happening. And if this isn't in your state or this isn't something that you're into, find something within your region that you do care about. I think that's really important too, because there are things happening everywhere. It is not just here in Southern Nevada, Northern Nevada, but it's happening all over the world. And if you could find a way that you can be a part of the movement, a part of the shift, a part of helping the planet, do it. We all have our parts, and to be gentle with each other.
Thank you so much, Fawn. And then Jolie, if you want to give your perspective on that too.
Yeah, again, like Fawn said, to be informed. I think people need to find out where their water is coming from. There are a lot of people in so-called Los Angeles that had no idea that their water is taken from Payahunadu. So know where your water is coming from. Do that research. And even when you're taking a shower and you're washing your hair, or you're whatever you're doing with that water, maybe thank that water, develop a relationship with the water that you're using and know where it comes from. And then also, I would say to invest in Indigenous leadership, to find these Indigenous movements and these organizations that are on the front lines that are doing this work, and to donate and help those organizations and amplify those voices and share those organizations with everybody, because Indigenous people are always on the front lines and in the forefront of this work for Mother Earth. So support Indigenous leaderships, know where your water is coming from, and know what it's doing to the communities that it's extracted from is really important. And yeah.
Thank you so much, Jolie. So at this time, I want to give our representative from PLAN, that's you, Beverly, an opportunity to provide a closing remark.
I'm just going to sneak in on that last question that you asked, because I think that's a fabulous question. I think it's so important, first, for this film to have been created by Justin and Amy, and supported by amazing voices like Autumn and Jolie and Fawn. They're fabulous advocates for land and water. And then we had Johnny Bob that was there every single morning, waking us up at, what was it, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, and he was getting us out of bed with the drum, and it was a really, really cool setting, and it really helped us connect us to this really important issue of water, where we really need to bring the voices of the public, is to begin understanding that the state water engineer of Nevada, their office is open right now. The extractive industry is still working. So they're still allowed to pollute as many gallons of water per second when we're in our houses, when we're in a stay-at-home order. So there's a lot of injustices that are happening at the same time. So people need to pick up the phone, and they need to call Sisolak's office. They need to call the State Water Engineer's office. They need to call BLM and say, what the hell? You know, how are you guys able to, you know, continue on and not realize that, you know, we need water. We really, really need to conserve water. So, I mean, especially right now when we have to think about our food security. And so I bring those challenges to the public. You know, the Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada is always working so hard on the inequality and always working to promote justice in all of these communities. And I think it's always nice to be able to look at their website, and we also do need some help with donations to you know, expand our organization. So thank you so much for offering this time, and thank you for the Nevada State College for allowing Plan to participate in this amazing event.
Thank you so much, Beverly. And I believe, Johnny Bob, do you have a few words you want to say as well?
Yes, I do. You know, this thing about the water, and there's restriction from the sage grouse that's been killed. It's part of the endangered species that's out there. We don't have enough of that sage grouse. Reason why we don't have enough of that sage grouse and any other animals that the native people that communicate with them is that we're not praying for them. Because every time we try to do something good, the BLM or the Forest Service always have that account on their heads about hunting them, killing them, taking them for whatever, the feathers, and taking things that being killed, and we're the people that's being numbered for killing them. So where does that fall when we're disappearing? It's like the lesser we are, the more minerals and the land that the government would have, the more they could do their maneuvering up in the air or down on the land. And that's why it became Mercury. That's why it became Nevada Test Site. Now they want more land in Fallon. Now they want more land to destroy and whatever they want to do with the land out east or bring nuclear waste in, more dumping, more radiation, radioactive waste to come into this land. And that's why I'm on the National Council, to see that our treaty is still in full force and effect, and to see and watch non-natives and natives that's supporting the Western Shoshone Nation, and the Western Shoshone Nation is also supporting the natives to continuing on with their gathering and fighting. To support this in a good way, we write to the governor, the mayor, our president, if he ever gets it, but no, probably not. And we always on that Facebook all the time about him. And we always on the Facebook about ourselves, how we are as indigenous people. But for the animals, they need our help. They need our support. They need our prayers. They need our fire, the way we set things. They need our ways of our people to continuing on doing our traditional and gatherings out there with the dances. We do a lot of dances. We do a lot of singing. We have to bring them native things back to this Mother Earth, so the native people would eat. And water is something that we always do with our ceremonies, always, and always will continue that. Oh.
Thank you so much, Johnny Bob. So we are now at the conclusion of our discussion. I want to thank Justin, Amy, Patrick, Fawn, Mary Lou, Johnny Bob, Autumn, Jolie, and Beverly from PLAN for joining us today. We truly appreciate your commitment to the preservation of water, land, and all the wildlife that are dependent on it. Also, thank you, Vincent Rennie and Erica Abayo from NSC Marketing and Events, for sharing your time and professional expertise. Moreover, those watching from home, if you would like to learn more about topics of diversity, please visit our Facebook page, including the posts by CEDI student workers. They have a weekly blog, which includes a post on Native American and American Indian history. And then please join us next time. So until then, stay safe, happy, healthy, and always stay informed. Thank you so much to the panel. I appreciate it, and everyone have